Well, there we go. Hello.
Hello.
Do we have a question for you?
Yes,
We
a
want to
good
know.
one.
Yeah, really good. We want to know. Do you sometimes find yourself on autopilot?
Hmm.
As a
As,
parent, you find yourself, right?
yeah, as a parent and inside of your family, do you find yourself on autopilot? And it's so interesting, especially given the time right now. Like, um, like it's interesting because I would think that I generally find myself on autopilot more often in the regular life, like, oh, trying
Yes.
to go somewhere to a class, to this, to that, and like it's just auto. And I would have assumed that then with all this spaciousness of time that's available, that I wouldn't be actually on autopilot.
Yeah.
And I would assume incorrectly.
I know, right? In fact, you know what, Sarah, when you say that, I actually noticed that yesterday when we were having a conversation. I actually noticed, but I didn't have words to put to it, that I was on autopilot. Like things were just fine the way they were.
Yeah. I find like as the days kind of roll into each other over here and again, it's like I noticed this morning it was just going through certain motions. Like kids were like literally like just walking by and I'm walking by and everyone's opening a fridge or a cupboard and saying a few words like how are you? How was your sleep? Like it's almost like even the words coming out of my mouth could be pre-programmed robot.
Yeah, like you could literally have them set up and just have your figure there saying them because they're so
Yeah.
predictable, right?
And I could probably say, you know what, I could fast forward 2 days from now and press play, and the same thing would be
Same thing.
happening. And another 2 days from there, the same, like the exact same scene. I'd probably be wearing the same pajamas and walking through the house, and like it's fine. Like it's fine. There's nothing
Well, there's
wrong.
nothing wrong with that.
It's just it's almost entertain. Like I'm almost getting to the point of the entertainment value of that. Of like you just can't, like it's almost like deja vu. It's like, ooh,
Mm.
I think before. It's like, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
on
Groundhog
autopilot.
Day. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, Sarah, because I'm working currently and I notice like my attention is on like what I need to get done for work, right? And I'm on autopilot because all there is to get that done. It's not even a stop, like pay attention in the moment. Like all there is I'm responsible for this, gotta go get that done. You know?
Mm.
It's so interesting, right? And that's
Yeah.
such a familiar pattern. And
Yeah.
yet I have
Well,
more space in my day than usual. But oh,
yeah. Well, and as a parent too, and in family life, it's amazing. It's kind of crazy, like what that autopilot does. Like it's like I look at my day yesterday, and like there's aspects of looking at that autopilot. And it's like, oh, like there's nothing wrong with it, but it's like it's like a missed opportunity. Like I looked at my children. I looked over at there. I remember seeing them. I remember
mhm,
talking with them, and it's not like an experience of being with them.
exactly. No, but that's
No.
exactly
And so
it.
then like oh the satisfaction fulfillment where I am, it's just empty or devoid. It's kind of like, oh, I don't really actually know what they're dealing with or where they're at or what happened in their day or like yeah, it's interesting. There's a missing. I guess like what I
Yeah.
can see is like looking back and seeing where autopilot was on,
Hmm.
and then looking at the end of my day, there was a missing for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like I really heard, even when you were sharing, like what I heard there was that lack of satisfaction. Like
Yeah.
it's so true for me when I am focused on what's coming up next. I'm not actually in the very moment. I'm not, because my
Mm,
attention is on what's coming up.
yeah.
And recently, I really had this opportunity to think about how I wanted to live my life. And somebody else around me created that what they were, how they said it is they were living for the fulfillment of their life while they were living. I don't know if that translates really well, but I've just heard like in every moment we have this opportunity to be fulfilled.
Yeah. It's like the moment is ours. It's like here's this moment and it's ours. And like you can be on autopilot and you can
Woohoo!
whatever, but you're going to get a certain satisfaction, fulfillment. You're going to get a certain sense of aliveness. You're going to get a certain sense of connection or lack thereof, based on that. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, and the opportunity is a total canvas where like you really
Mm.
could create or experience what you're out to experience. And that's where like our commitment, like what we're all up to about around here,
Mm-hmm.
like what's your commitment? And it's like, it is these blank space every moment. It's like that blank space.
Yep.
And it's like, whatever we create our commitment as gets to live in that space.
Really.
Is what I just hear. And it's like, I'm so present to, like, when we were talking this morning and just about like what we are going to bring to this conversation today, like a commitment that really satisfies me, and or at least for right now I can see would really satisfy me, is that commitment of attentiveness. Like to me, like, oh, like with my kids, and like that's an interruption to the roboticness or the default or the that autopilot place. And it's like, it's have that attentiveness to like look over and like, I don't know, you just look at, like, through that commitment, I look at them differently. I talk to them differently. I show up. I get down to their level. I'm asking questions. I'm curious.
Can I tell you something that I just heard? You know, we all, I think our overriding thing that we have in our culture is our want, our need to be present. Like, it's this, we keep saying what we most want is to be present. And in your creating attentiveness as a commitment, I actually heard the access in that very moment to being present. Rather than, oh, I want to be present. Oh, if I bring this thing called attentiveness, then it's literally saying
that, okay, I would
yeah,
be present. Yeah. Without me having to force presence.
Yeah.
It's like literally by me being attentive, it has me, like, it has my ears perked up in a certain way, my eyes looking in a certain way. Like I'm attentive of my surroundings. I'm attentive of like my kids' needs or wants or where they're at. I'm curious. I'm in an inquiry. I want to know. I want to be over there with them. Yeah. And it's like, and I can honestly say, like, as a parent, when I'm coming from the commitment of attentiveness, the level of satisfaction fulfillment I have is huge. The level of aliveness and connection I have, the results, like, really, like, it's not for results, and results come out of that, like the kind of results of, like, communication, or like getting to know my kids, or them being heard, or like all the results I'm looking for as a parent also show up.
I love what you're saying, because I took on Discovery the other day, and it was really interesting because what actually showed up was tenderness. Right, like that I actually got to, like, in being, like, taking on, I want to discover newly. What showed up around me was the tenderness that was there, but I just wasn't really paying attention to.
Yeah. And like, and what I just see is this opportunity with, like, it could occur Groundhog Day-ish. It could occur like another day is, it's another day, and life can get bland. Life can get,
Monotonous.
It can, with, we don't have all the different things that we generally do or create, and it can become something. And like, I just hear this opportunity to, like, wow, utilizing this time and space right now to, like, and the word savor always comes up too, like, attentiveness and savor. And it's like, oh, I want that. Oh, that warms my heart. And it's like, and then it's not the actions in the day or the doingness of the day. It's like everything comes from being attentive and savoring. It's like I don't have to know what to do or what we're creating, and by being attentive, it's like I get to be moment to moment to moment to moment with my kids, in connection and conversation, building the relationships that really matter to me, and having them seen, heard, and their space being created.
Yeah.
Like, in being attentive, like, the first kind of questions I would ask are like what is needed and wanted, like what would make a difference where they are, what,
but maybe even you don't need to come with questions. If you just bring attentiveness, then I don't know, I'm starting to hear that right then we'd actually notice, right? We could then, the questions that are there to ask will come up. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I totally hear that. Yeah. That is interesting, because as soon as I even say attentive, the questions come.
Yeah. Oh, really great.
Right? It's like that. It's like I'm already standing there. And so, like, already in being attentive, I can see some of the things maybe I haven't asked or stepped out, like things that are right there to be asked.
Really beautiful.
Right? And it's like, and it's so subtle. It's interesting, because that autopilot, it can look like not autopilot, is what I'm present to right now. Like autopilot, there's the very, like, visual autopilot, somebody just, like, walking through, doing the motions, not even noticing, and that happens too. And then there's this autopilot of, like, should, could, have to, like I'm a parent, these are the things to do, blah blah blah, and it could look very busy, it can look very active.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and it's really familiar. So
Yeah,
it's like we have the roteness of it, right? It's familiar.
yeah.
I know how to do this thing. I find
And there
myself
can
doing
be
it.
like a, I don't want to call it false, but there can be a certain flavor of satisfaction fulfillment that's there because you're,
Mm,
you're getting things done, like you're checking some lists and you're getting some stuff done, and there can be like some rewarding feeling, something in yourself over there,
for
right? and
sure.
and like that can be like the trap of it for me, I notice, is like, because then it's like, well, it's not autopilot, like I'm getting stuff done, I'm
Yes.
creating,
Yes.
and yet it actually, no, it's freaking autopilot. I'm driving somewhere on like
Yeah.
knowing, like, yeah, in all the knowing of it, and there's no room or space to even like really have that kind of presence or be with, or yeah, it's a very subtle difference, and giant and distinct, like it's
Hmm.
interesting.
Mm. I, I like to think we're actually quite clever. So it looks it looks like we're attentive, but we're actually not. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
that's certainly mine. I'm pretty skilled at like operating at a level that looks like I'm present and I'm actually not. Yeah.
yeah,
And there is, you're right. Like I would point and say, yeah, I'm still satisfied. I'm still getting stuff done. My peeps are seen and I know that they're doing okay or whatever it is. But it is very is an autopilot. It's not
yeah,
actually you have all of me available.
yeah. And it's
Which
like,
is
I'm wondering, like, I'm really curious, like, for anyone listening and for myself, of like, okay, so we do this, like we standardly do this. Autopilot's a pretty natural place to
mm,
have us and to go into. And it's like, what would it take to notice autopilot and be something else? Like what would it take, or what would make
mm,
the difference? And um like, I see for myself, if I don't put create something in the space, like say like this attentiveness I'm really excited
mm-hmm,
about, like
mm-hmm.
then I have somewhere that I can come from attentiveness.
Yeah.
But if I'm just sitting there, oh, looking at like interrupting autopilot, then I'm like interrupting it, sure, but there's nothing that gives me something to be, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense.
So that again.
But like, I tend to like try to put structures in place to interrupt the autopilot, like
Yes.
alarms and bells and whistles,
Mm,
and it's awesome. And it serves a purpose. And it's great, but unless I actually create something for myself of what I am going to come from, it's like it's a lot of work. Like, it's a lot of work to keep interrupting and stopping or noticing. But like, as soon as I say, today, what, this day on April, whatever day of April we
24th,
are,
yes.
April 24th, is a day to be attentive.
Yeah.
It's like I then don't need to put in all the bells, the whistles, and stuff. And I could maybe, like, hey, maybe I want to put some different structures in.
Mm-hmm.
But the having to work hard at it isn't there,
Yeah.
is what
Yeah.
I'm presenting.
Yeah. It's almost as if I don't know if this rings for you, but it's almost as if in putting in attentive, the autopilot of everything else like goes away. Unhealthy if I heard it in the way you was talking.
Yeah. Like it just gives me my pathway for the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, that's what and it's interesting, like, as a, as a creation coach, like it's like that's actually 101, and I don't do it, but it's like it's 101. What is that pathway? What am I creating? Where am I
Mm-hmm.
standing? Who am
Mm-hmm.
I today? Who am I today?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, I get to be attentive,
Mm-hmm.
and what gets to show up with that, and the value, and stopping and pausing and creating that is pretty
Mm-hmm.
huge.
It's brilliant.
Yeah. So,
It's really beautiful because you actually hear the space in it. Like it's
mhm.
not a constrained thing. That's what I just heard in what you said. Like it's
Yeah.
not constrained, like
And it's,
tightened in.
yeah, and it's soft, and it's not like let's beat ourselves with sledgehammers. Like, as a parent, I don't know, like we can
So
get
easy, right?
accustomed to that. Yeah.
Mm. Mm.
There's a different softness where you get some space and grace for yourself.
Mm. Man,
Awesome.
brilliant.
So, what do you hear that you're taking away for today?
Me?
Yeah, you.
There was just a movement behind you. Just distracted me. Really, I think Well, I was really listening to you. I had a commitment that people had known. And so
Just going choppy
that's the
for a second. Can you say that again? I don't know if that's on my end or your end, but
okay. So my commitment for today is that now we've got Szara's finger in the screen. It's pretty. So my commitment today is to have people be known. So what I'm taking on today is discovery. And I think that Szara's Wi-Fi is stuck. So my invitation to each and every one of you is to take on your filter for the day and play with that. And let's see what gets created out of that. Okay, so thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back on Monday at 12:30 sharp, we hope, back on our live and ready to create our new week. And what next week will bring is some other faces. So we look forward to
we have
being
some
with
guests
you.
that are going to be joining us in this conversation, and they're going to share some of the things that they're finding and discovering.
Yeah.
We look forward to it.
Okay.
So go have fun pausing, stopping that autopilot and creating in the space, anything that you're creating that means touches you. Okay.
Perfect.
Until Monday.
Till Monday. Bye.